views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Jari Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. It's Women's History Month, so leading things off, we'll speak to Vera Berezowsky, Secretary of the New York Regional Council of the Ukrainian National Women's League of America, as she discusses the war in Ukraine and what Bronxites and New Yorkers can do to send humanitarian aid. Then we'll speak to Grammy Award Winning gospel singer, songwriter, music producer, and arranger Fred Hammond as he discusses Festival of Praise 2022 concert coming to Lehman Center for the Performing Arts. After that, we'll be joined by Debbie Ali, president, editor, and contributing artist of Lehman Arts Collective, as she speaks about holding space for art students, art enthusiasts to discuss and create collectively. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on multicultural all-women band LADAMA, followed by a performance at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. Happy Women's History Month. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, inviting you to get social with us online, that is. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow more on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So our first guest is the Secretary of the New York Regional Council of the Ukrainian National Women's League of America, a national organization established in 1925 for the purpose of uniting women of Ukrainian descent or affiliation to preserve their ethnic identity and cultural heritage within a framework of volunteer humanitarian endeavors. Now, with Russia currently invading Ukraine, the UNWLA is working overtime to supply aid to their homeland. And joining us to tell us more, where Bronxites and New Yorkers, for that matter, can go to help during these trying times and difficult times, is the Ukrainian National Women's League of America Secretary of the New York Regional Council, Vera Berezowsky. Hello and welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah, first, let me just open up by saying our prayers are with you, your family and friends, and everyone who is just enduring these really tumultuous times.
Thank you. It's been an incredible 2 weeks. People are shocked, devastated, frightened, and just worried as to what the outcome will be long term.
And so, interesting enough, it is women leading in the forefront in aiding, right? And so, as I mentioned in the introduction, UNWLA, Ukrainian National Women's League of America. It's a little long, but I want to make sure everybody's aware. That's what the acronym is for. You've been at this since 1925, and you've been servicing in this manner. But now it's like almost as if though you've been in preparation for today.
Well, just as a reminder, we have been in a war situation for the past 8 years. So needless to say, the needs were there. They are just escalated geometrically to, astronomical figures. But the work, you're right, has continued throughout nearly our 100-year existence. And in particular, the humanitarian aspect of our work with social welfare making sure that the elderly are fine, children are taken care of. There are all sorts of projects, and we have a children's burn victim project, which it had been in place and continues to be in place. But now, at this moment, the greatest need is that of medical support, both for the military and for the civilians, because as we are informed and see quite clearly on the television reports, civilians are a great number of victims. We don't have final figures or anything for any period of time, but we have been there and ahead of the time. We are working with also an organization of AIMC, which is a medical cooperation. We have worked with them prior, and primarily we're collecting funds and medical equipment. Yes.
And so, right, yes, you're doing that, but I also want our audience to be aware of the level in which you serve as ambassadors. I mean, your website is pretty much like a hub to all means and all ways that someone can assist. And so, can you just walk us through some of the advocacy that the organization is really focused on?
Well, one of the first advocacy programs that we engaged in was simply flooding the market with Netflix to please cease their relationship with Russia in providing their services. Their services are fine, except one of the conditions that Netflix had to engage in was to allow the state news to be broadcast. And there was a problem with that for most people, because we felt that this certainly was not truthful information. And as we say, the fake news was prominent in the typical Russian family. And as Russia is quite a large country, it reached from Europe literally to the Pacific Ocean. You have quite a few people who look for entertainment and for news and balance and all. So guess what? Those thousands of emails and letters that arrived, and their help, we hope certainly that it helped make them make the right decision and cease their relationship. We are writing to the president in cases where things we need for the government is asking. Right now, we're down to airplanes and airspace. Again, whether it is a representative in their work, or the Senate, or the president directly, again, our pleas, our reasons, our rationale for why this is important reaches actually way beyond the borders of Ukraine. It affects most of Europe, and it affects us, as we know. So this is critical. And so any voice that can help, and I would encourage our residents of Bronx and New York City and beyond to engage in that by just simply writing. They're very simple emails that could be written from the heart, what you see, what you experience, and what you would want. And it's www.senate.gov. Or if you prefer to write to a representative, www.house.gov, and you can write the same thing for whitehouse.gov.
And I gotta say, just on a personal level, like one of the most devastating imagery that we've been fed is the civilians and the women and the children. And I wonder, what this must feel like for you on a personal level. And if you have family out there, how they're enduring all of this.
Even as I speak, I think of them. We have family members there who range from 2 years old to 92 years old. And of course, the elderly are worried about what will happen after they are not able to, at this point, physically, perhaps, to be ready for the trip that would be ahead of them. On the other hand, the mother, yes, the mother of the 2-year-old, and the grandmothers and all are absolutely devastated, because they want to make sure that they will be safe And that's not something that they can predict by staying. On the other hand, it's a tremendously difficult decision. Do you leave? Do you stay? Because there's a father, there's a grandfather who are subject to be in the army. So it's very difficult to make a decision not knowing whether you will ever come back. And for me personally, in addition to everything that's happening, it reminds me of my parents, how they had to leave not knowing, and it was just the baggage that they could carry and transport. And so here we have thousands and thousands of people. We're crossed the 2 million mark already of refugees now seeking new homes, at least new shelters, either for this immediate period or might turn out to be for the rest of their lives. So it's devastating. There are times when I don't want to know because I don't want it to hurt anymore. On the other hand, you just can't pretend this is not happening. And that's why an organization like the UNWLA gives me some solace to feel productive and that I'm going to make a difference, whether it's signing that letter, whether it's donating, whether it's going and packing packages, you're doing something.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And really, before we go, just share one more time with our viewers how we can be of assistance.
Honestly, the best way to do it is if you're able to and are financially okay with it, would be to see a financial, a monetary donation to the organization, which is, as I said, at least we know that this money will be used for the right thing, whether it's to help that soldier, whether it's to help the family who is on the move as a refugee. And please remember that the refugees, as they are leaving, there are also refugees who are arriving, because people from the eastern parts of the country are still on the move and will. They feel that it may reach as high as 10 million people. So anything financial where the organizations that are working have more control over, where is it that we need? Do we need more shelter for people to house them? Do we need to set up, more medical sites? Because guess what? People get sick, whether it's the war or not. They need attention as well. So I think the most flexible way of our humanitarian aid is to seek the financial funds to pay for the expenses involved with it.
Thank you. Thank you. You heard that, guys. And that was Vera Berezowsky. She's the secretary of the New York Regional Council of the Ukrainian National Women's League of America. And they have been servicing since 1925. And if you're interested in contributing, and of course, for more information and where you can send aid to the Ukraine, you can go to unwla.org, click on donate. And for more on the Ukrainian National Women's League of America, you can follow them on on Facebook at UNWLA. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about Festival of Praise 2022 concert coming to Lehman Center for the Performing Arts. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest is a Grammy Award winning singer, songwriter, music producer, and arranger, a leading pioneer of gospel music since 1985. He's influenced pop superstars such as Justin Bieber, Chance the Rapper, and Jamie Foxx, to name a few. He's included in Essence magazine's list of the 50 greatest male singers of all time. He's topped Billboard charts, selling millions of records, and has collaborated with musicians such as Snoop Dogg and Kanye West. The legendary Fred Hammond is now co-headlining the Festival of Praise 2022 concert with Israel Houghton and Hezekiah Walker at Lehman Center for the Performing Arts, which promises to be an unforgettable hand clapping and foot stomping, get up out your seat worship explosion. And here now to share more is Grammy Award winning gospel singer, songwriter, music producer, and arranger, the legend himself, Fred Hammond.
Hey now, how you doing?
Woo!
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good, doing well,
Oh,
feeling well, you know.
that's what's up. That's what's up. And thank you for taking the time, because I know you guys are in the middle of rehearsing and getting ready for this explosion. But you know, let's just talk about where we are now and how much this really matters. And I want to say that's from, you know, being a New Yorker who has been deprived of really experiencing live music and almost experiencing it, and then us getting shut down and now reopening. But now I think it's for real, and you guys are bringing it to us spiritually. So let's talk about it.
Listen, we are all glad to just be back in the fold. You know, we're having such a amazing time. We've started doing concerts, I think, since last maybe April, May. We started going out doing these dates. So yeah, we're excited, and the audience is excited. You know, we'll take it. You know, we got to wear masks and stuff right now, but we'll take that. You know, we'll go ahead and take that. One day that'll be over with, but right now, let's just get together, get in a room, and let's have a ball.
You know, and I think it's important that people understand that. I get that we're still, you know, we still have certain limitations and certain protocol that needs to be had. But at the end of the day, there's this invisible stuff, this invisible substance that in which we all need to congregate and really just celebrate it, because right now the world is not in a really celebratory place.
Yeah, it's not. But one thing about it is we're going to find a way to find some joy through all of the pain and the trials we see, all of the craziness we've been over the last several years. There's still going to be a ray of sunshine somewhere, and that's what we're going to find a way to do it. So, you know, this just, you know, the Bible says weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. We're in the morning. And it also means weeping may endure through the darkest time in your life, and joy comes while you're mourning. There's two different ways to look at it. While you're in your mourning, in the morning, in the sad, in the depression, joy peeks its head through. And if we recognize it, we can have some hope. So it's good.
Yeah, that's definitely profound. And you know, I want to say, you know, just having the opportunity to speak to you myself, that I admire the fact that you really have kept it real and in making sure that the language that you use, even though profound, that you're relating to our urban community, because I think it's so important that that they understand and that we understand, because I identify as an urbanite myself, that we have a voice, you know, and that we matter.
That's key right there. I was about to say it if you didn't say it, that, you know, a lot of people in my profession, you know, whether it be pastors, great men of God, great, you know, singers and great evangelists, they tend to talk to the culture of church because that's what they know. And it is almost kind of a thing that says, I'm going to talk to the culture of the body. And so I'm going to give language just talking like this. And they say great things like, for such a time as this, and God is doing that, and God, which is great. But what you're doing is you're alienating a culture. And one thing I try, because I sound really bad when I try to do that. And I learned that like 40 years ago, that when I tried to talk like I didn't have it, didn't come naturally. And the Lord told me, be yourself. You're going to be recognized by just being yourself. I'm a man who grew up in the hood, grew up in a crazy home situation. I grew up with a great mom who had to fight through and raise 3 boys, but we grew up in the hood. And so I always knew how to relate to that culture. And I just decided I would be me. And the Lord just told me, be you. Talk to them the way I got enough people doing that, but I need you to be you. And so therefore, I talk to the body and the believers and the culture, whoever, however. So, it's just, it's part of being effective. We were talking earlier, and I told you at 11 years old, I didn't know why, but I heard the story of Solomon. My mother had walked away from God for like 3 years when my father, Ray Hammond, died. He died at 32 years old of colon cancer. They call it cancer of the bowel back then. And she was like 34. And she was like, why me? So she was angry with God. She was mad that she walked away from God. But then she went back and said, 3 years later, she said, we're going to start going back to church. My first Sunday school lesson that I remember, the Sunday school teacher talked about Solomon and getting wisdom. I want to be wise. And at 11 years old in the Sunday school, in the back of the class, I prayed and said, Lord, make me wise. I want to be wise like that. I didn't know what I was doing. I just 11 years old, first day back. And one of the things about wisdom is being effective in the time that you're in. And so that's how I've made it this long, is I always want to be effective, and that's kind of what it is. Talk to the people.
Wisdom, and you had also mentioned, right? I'm just going to repeat what you had shared with me before getting on air, is that wisdom doesn't always mean that you know everything either. Wisdom is also knowing that when you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's knowing when you absolutely don't know it. That's the beauty of wisdom, that you don't know everything, but you know when you don't know so that you can get help. You don't always do the right thing, but you know in the time that you're not doing the right thing, that it's not the right thing. That's the beauty of wisdom, so.
And so before we go, let's talk about this amazing festival that you're part of, and what it is that I guess you are anticipate people really experiencing in participating.
Well, this is called the Festival of Praise, because that's what we're coming to do. So as a culture of people, because not everybody goes to the same church. Some of the people come and don't even go to church. They'll be invited, but they like gospel music, and they're going to come out and see. They love Hezekiah. Hezekiah's a Brooklyn native. He's one of the best out there today in the industry. Israel Houghton is an industry leader, and yours truly. And we're just coming together, and it's not the norm. Anybody that's been to a festival in the past, we don't just come out, I do a set, and then Hez does a set, and then we come out together, and we intersperse with each other. We sit on the stage with each other. We talk to each other. We sing background in each other's songs. And it's really just a night where we all come together. And I have to say, sadly, this is the last one. This is Festival of Praise 5. This is it. This is we're going away. So I'm telling everybody, get your tickets now, get them early. You're going to the fantastic Lehman College. I have so much good history with Lehman from back in the commission days, from back in the Radical for Christ days. So we're loving it. We're good to end this tour there. And so get it. We're going to have a ball. We coming like, I call it praise and worship assassins. We are coming. We're coming to take everybody. It's just like, you know what? We're going to hit you left and right in the center. Just wow, it's just going to be coming songs. Just get you some rest that day. Hopefully you ain't got to work an income. But if you come and you got to sit, cool. But understand, people are going to be standing in front of you, because we're singing everybody's favorite, period.
Oh my gosh, you're making my hair stand. I can feel it already, and we ain't even there. Oh my gosh, thank you for bringing it here to our viewers, everyone. The legendary Fred Hammond. And once again, he was talking about, the Festival of Praise 2022. That is happening on Saturday, March 26th at 8 p.m. at the Lehman Center for the Performing Arts, which is located at 250 Bedford Park Boulevard in the Bronx, of course. And for tickets, you can visit lehmancenter.org. And for more on Fred Hammond, visit him on IG at RealFredH. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a collective art space also happening at Lehman College. Don't go anywhere. everyone. Welcome back. Our next guest is the president, editor, and contributing artist to the Lehman Art Collective, a group of artists that creates space where artists and art enthusiasts come together in the Bronx to discuss and create collaboratively. Joining us to tell us more, please welcome president of Lehman Art Collective, Debbie Ali. Hello and welcome.
Hi, nice to be here.
Well, thanks for bringing the color into our space. I'm loving all those colors behind you. Is that your artwork?
Thank you. Yes, this is my my little art studio I've made during pandemic time.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that as well, because I think we're almost over, hopefully.
Yes.
So let's talk about this Lehman Art Collective. I mean, I know that Lehman, the campus itself has been closed for throughout the entire pandemic, and so this art collective is a fairly new mission, and I also don't necessarily know if Lehman is completely opened yet.
Yeah, it's getting there. More and more, we're just seeing more faces on campus and more spaces are open. But this is a fairly new initiative that has just started kind of grassroots from artists on Lehman, and it's really just a group of people, a group of artists from all walks of life who just span decades in age difference, neurodivergent, different religions, different cultures and backgrounds. We all just kind of were drawn together, and we came together to create something more. And when we were kind of hungry for this interaction.
So, you were introduced to us by my dear longtime friend, Marisol Diaz, who's an award-winning photojournalist, and she's an amazing photographer, an artistic photographer at that as well. She, I know her discipline is photography. It seems yours is fine art. So is it like a mixed genre of artists that, is it all painting, or are there other disciplines included as well?
Oh, absolutely. We have everything. It's incredible. So we kind of started out with a zine, which is a small pamphlet book that's distributed amongst campus, and we've distributed to other small organizations. And in that, we have painters, sculptors, printmaker, book artists, everything you can imagine. And what it is, it kind of houses all of these ideas and different perspectives we have that we brought together.
And so how many of you are there thus far?
Oh, wow. So we're close to 100 members. It's
and where was this formed?
So this was just, we had a class one day or for a semester, and we were just really feeling we wanted to continue our collaboration. So I put out an open call on our online group chat, and a couple people just said, yeah, let's do it. Let's get together. And it just evolved from there.
And that happened throughout the pandemic, right? It started.
Yeah.
You mentioned spring of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. We were on Zoom. We were all feeling virtual learning, painting, printmaking. It was all just really difficult during that time. And our professor, Melissa Brown, created a book arts class. And through that, we kind of learned about different ways to be creative, collaging at home. And we all just, we wanted more of it. And so we kind of just messaged each other and got in contact, and magic just happened.
And so this zine, does it have a name? Does it have a title?
Yes, it's called Behind the Zine. And
how clever.
Yep, Behind the Zine. And we have different themes. We have two so far. The first one is Make Art Anyway, and it's the struggles of an artist during the pandemic. And we have images of people painting in bathrooms and just making art no matter what the situation. Then we have Dead of Winter as our second zine, and that's just continuing winter in the pandemic, isolation, loneliness, New York City stories that are relatable to Lehman students and artists in the community. And now we're working on family, because with all the political things happening, war-torn families coming together or being, separated. There's just a lot to say. And even locally as well, there's a lot to say about family in the Bronx too.
Yes, well, this is definitely a time for us to really focus and hone in on the love that we carry, being units as such, right? And as you guys are forming your own family, an arts family throughout this collective, and so the zine that we're referencing, is it available online or is it a physical zine? And if it is physical, how are you distributing it?
So we have physical copies and we're trying to work on a digital version to release on our Instagram, social media. But the physical copies, we've just been handing them out on campus and we've been sending them in to different organizations that are interested in showing them. I even participated in different art festivals and just had the zines out for people to pick up. Whoever is interested, artists, everything's relatable and just easy to pick up.
That's lovely. That's lovely. And so I understand that the collective also is intergenerational, it's interracial. It's just like you've got everything under all walks of life under this gamut, right? Like, and so you mentioned something before we got on air with regards to creating a bigger project, a mural project of some sort. And is that mural project that you're about to embark on going to happen on campus?
Yeah, so we usually meet on Zoom, and we met one Sunday night, and we're talking about our next zine, and just ideas just came out of our conversations, and we said, you know what, let's try and make this campus-wide mural project happen. And it's going to be a couple of murals, and the different murals are going to be surrounded by or kind of in combination with social issues, climate change, political issues that gives students hope, because there's just a lot happening between the pandemic and war, and we want something transformative. We want something to make a difference and give students this positive feeling. And we want to work with different buildings on campus, different spaces, so students can feel involved and be seen.
Wonderful. Now, before we go, we're about to wrap up. Can anyone join the collective? And if so, how would they do so?
Yeah, absolutely. We have just kind of an Instagram, and on Club Central, there's ways to get involved that way. But also, if there's anyone on campus that just wants to participate in the arts and wants to, we really take art seriously. Many of us, this is our career, and we really want to foster that. So reach out to me. I have my own Instagram or the Lehman Art Collective email account. There's many social medias to contact, but we're also working on our next show about banned books. So if anyone's interested in getting involved with that as well, it's going to be pretty big.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Debbie Ali, president of the Lehman Art Collective. And you guys, if you're interested in the Lehman Art Collective, you can email them at lehmanartcollective@gmail.com, and be sure to check them out on Instagram at Lehman Art Collective. All right, stay tuned, because Bobby C's weekly sports roundup is coming up next.
begin our look at sports on the baseball diamond. That's right, fans. Baseball is back. The lockout is over. We have a new collective bargaining agreement. The owner-imposed lockout goes 99 days. But thankfully, we will see a full season with a few rule changes in Major League Baseball. Opening day is right around the corner. The first week is in April. MLB free agency and spring training is now officially underway. We'll loop in the latest with the Yankees and Mets right here at number 5 on 5 on 5, a recap of 5 trending stories, and a look ahead at the latest from around the world of sports. The Bronx Bombers' first move with the lockout lifted saw a 5-player swap with Minnesota that sent Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela to the Twins for former MVP Josh Donaldson, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and Ben Rortvedt. More on this deal in my C-list. I certainly have plenty to say. Meantime, the Mets bolstered their starting rotation on Saturday, striking a deal with the Oakland Athletics for right-hander Chris Bassett. The Mets sent 2 minor league pitchers to the A's in this deal. Bassett made his major league debut with the Chicago White Sox back in 2014 and had been with Oakland since 2015, since undergoing Tommy John surgery and missing the 2017 season. He is 29-14 with a 3.23 ERA and 396 strikeouts to 122 walks. It is a nice under-the-radar move for the Amazons. Perhaps the biggest news, though, for the Mets this week was what happened to star Pete Alonso on his way to spring training. The Mets first baseman told reporters that he was involved in a scary car accident on his way to camp in Port St. Lucie. According to Alonso, another vehicle ran a red light and struck his car, which flipped over 3 times. He is grateful to be okay and excited about playing baseball again.
It's truly amazing how I'm here, and again, like I'm so fortunate that everyone's okay, and I don't know. I'm just really happy that that my wife sprung into action when she did. She was a trooper yesterday. So a lot of emotional toll, but here, happy and healthy.
In the 4th spot, we are equally excited for the return of our champions here in the Bronx. New York City FC, the defending MLS Cup champions, breezed to a 4-1 win over Montreal in their home opener. A banner ceremony and a victory to boot. Here's more from inside the locker room.
I think the first half was excellent. We pressed them really high. We won the ball in good situations. We put them the first ball forward, and then we counter-attacked them hard, and we get 2 goals. We should have killed the game in the first half. So that's something we could have done better. But when you create so many chances, it's hard to play against us.
In the 3 spot, the latest from our local Scholastic Roundup, which includes our BX Team of the Week, filled with plenty of Bronx Players of the Week. When Stepanak and Cardinal Hayes met 2 weeks ago for the Archdiocesan title, Stepanak locked down Hayes to the tune of just 10 points in the first half and 44 the game. The rematch, the 4th between these teams during this season, saw the kids from the Bronx in a role reversal. The Crusaders entered ranked number 1 in the state, having won 14 straight. They suffered an off night at the worst time and dropped the CHSAA City Championship game to Hayes at Hofstra University. Final score 79-59. Credit goes where most deserved here nonetheless, and that's Cardinal Hayes. CHSAA AA intersectional champions. Has a very nice ring to it. On the pro side, the Brooklyn Nets got the better of the orange and blue this past Sunday in Brooklyn. The Nets defeat the Knicks 110-107. We go back inside the locker room for more.
Just try to go with the flow and do what's required of me out there. And I felt like tonight, we were shorthanded a bit in the scoring department. Missing Kyle, missing Seth, missing LaMarcus. So I felt like we started the game off fast, but then they got hot as well, and I didn't want us to get stagnant on the offensive side of the ball, so I just put up a lot of shots tonight. And Andre was there to rebound a lot of them for me, and guys played off of me today. They seen I had it going early, so they were looking for me pretty often. So it was I felt good as the game went on.
And we round out the first half of this 5-on-5 with On This Date in Bronx sports history. Baseball has strongly tried to disassociate itself from gambling over the years as a result of all the troubles that it had during the game's early lifetime. As a result, on this day in 1985, Commissioner Bowie Kuhn banned Yankee great Mickey Mantle for life after he signed autographs at a casino. Mantle was retired at the time of the incident, and the ban was eventually lifted. There is a great article in the New York Times on Mantle and fellow New York sports icon Willie Mays, who also went through the same thing at the time. To the back end of 5 on 5 we go. Racing headlines number 1. Formula One. Yes, indeed. Formula One opens the season this weekend in Bahrain. Days after Drive to Survive Season 4 hit Netflix to get the buzz going. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen see their first official action since the controversial conclusion to last season that saw Max win his first title and Lewis still searching for his record-breaking 8th. Lewis made some other headlines this past week saying that he will add his mother's surname to his name as a tribute to both of his parents. Meanwhile, IndyCar is finally back on the track after the opener in St. Pete on February 27th. IndyCar is at Texas Motor Speedway this Sunday. 2 races for the price of 1. In at 2, the NCAA tournament rolls on here in the month of March. Sad to see the Iona men fell tonight, seeded Rhina right out of the gate in the MAC tourney. The women also fell in the conference tourney, but managed to win the first round game. Same deal for both Fordham basketball programs. They lose in the quarterfinals of the A10 tournament. The Villanova men headline the locals after winning the Big East at Madison Square Garden. They are in the NCAA tourney field. The Fordham women and Iona men get the consolation NIT bids. Congrats to all that are still playing in the month of March. In at number 3, the Knicks are home to face Washington Friday tonight and Utah Sunday at MSG. Both games tip at 7:30. At 4, the Nets welcome Portland tonight to the Barclays, 7:30 there as well. And at 5, our first spring training action this weekend for both the Yankees and the Mets. Check out MLB.com and the specific websites for team schedules. Cheers to baseball. To the C-list we go. Interesting trade here for the Pinstripers. Gio has been the Yankees' starting third baseman for most of the last 3 seasons when healthy. Sanchez looked like a future superstar as a rookie in 2016 and was an all-star in 2017 and then again in 2019. But he has not become the monster that many thought he would be. Like the movie The Bronx Tale, nothing like wasted talent. And I think that certainly is the case when it comes to Gary Sanchez. I think the move is good for the Twins, although I'm not really sure if Gio or Gary are ever the same. The same could be said for Donaldson here in the Bronx. Yet I think he's a better gamble, in my opinion, than both of those guys. The 3-time All-Star won the 2015 AL MVP and has 2 other top 5 finishes in MVP voting. He had 247 with 26 doubles, 26 homers, 72 RBI, 73 runs, and a 3.2 WAR in 135 games for the Twins last season. He has been hampered by some injuries the last several years and likely won't hit for a high average again, but he's still an imposing middle-order power hitter, and I think he'll be great for the locker room. He's feisty, and he's a guy that I think will actually ignite the Yankees. I actually like the other 2 players in this deal. I really like Gold Glove shortstop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He's young and a nice stopgap until top prospect Anthony Volpe comes up, while catcher Ben Rortvedt is great defensively and will allow Kyle Higashioka, to start and split time in a solid platoon. I give the trade a grade of B for now. If Donaldson regains his form, it could pay higher dividends for the Bronx Bombers. If nothing else, the Yanks shed some weight, no pun intended, with Sanchez, and they feel that Donaldson and Kiner-Falefa are enough to sacrifice Gio and the potential that Sanchez has. Let's just be happy that baseball is back. That just sounds so great to say. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Hey everyone, welcome to Open. Our last guests are multi-instrumentalists and members of LADAMA, a group of 4 women, virtuosic musicians and educators hailing from different countries and cultures of the Americas, harnessing music from their respective countries of origin, Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, the United States. The group utilizes traditional and non-traditional instruments from across the Americas, but with a modern twist to produce Latin alternative music. La Dama's full-length album, Oye Mujer, was released in the summer of 2020 as a declaration to women and a call to humanity. Here now to share more are 2/4 of La Dama, Mafer Bandola Gonzalez and Lara Klaus. Hello and welcome, ladies.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for being here on our Women's History Month edition. I think this is so apropos for us to conclude this particular episode with you ladies. I love that you designed and created as a declaration for women. Let's talk about how you even came together as a group and when you came together as a group, even though there's only 2 of you from the 4 of you.
Yes, Rhina, thank you so much for having us, and it's a pleasure for us to talk about this project because we are, as you said, 4 women from 4 different countries. We met in 2014 in an artistic residency here in the United States and California, I remember. And then we decided to keep going in this project. We said, like, there is a really strong chemistry between us, but we can do beyond this residency, artistic residency. And then we were developing this during the whole year, like being apart, each of us in each country, Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, United States, each of us working online. And we make a strong idea about being instrumentalists, being pioneering this instrument, and being interested to work with communities, engage with communities. So we start again as a band with a tour in 2016, specifically in Brazil. We were in this time back in 2016 on tour, definitely. And yeah, that's how we started.
Well, now that's a nice lead into Lara, who's the Brazilian.
Yes, and then it was really interesting because we knew we could do the project together. We had this chemistry, like Maria said, and then we went to Brazil for the first time, to do the project without rehearsing. We just got there, and 1 week after we were playing a very big festival, and then we traveled to all of our countries. We went to Colombia, Venezuela, and to the United States, and we did social work with the communities. We work with kids, with youth, not only teaching music, because the idea is not only to teach, but to empower somehow, using the instruments we have and the cultures. So that.
And sorry, no, I'm sorry, I thought you were done. No, because I was going to just mention, that I know we can only speak on behalf of you 2 ladies, although there's 4 of you. There's Daniela Sedna and Sara Lucas, who's also part of La Dama. But with regards to you 2 ladies, I do happen to know that Mafer Bandula, it actually, your origins, that name originates from a specific instrument that isn't really female dominated, right? It's a male dominated played instrument, and you made it your business to learn it, and not only learn it, but now teach it.
Yes, it is. I play bandola llanera, which is a really antique instrument from Venezuela. This is part of our heritage, and the connection between Spanish culture, indigenous culture, and Africa culture is how this instrument born, and is predominantly dominated by men, always playing them, and I never, like at the beginning, it was really interesting for me to see myself as a professional musician in a traditional instrument, because you learn it by oral tradition. So it wasn't like clear for me what was the way or the path to develop as a professional career. And thanks to meeting these incredible women that I just met, which are my sister in LADAMA, that speech, it was strong for me, that call about like, hey, you develop your thing, and it won't be like a traditional path as like, okay, playing in parties or playing in a bar or playing in like a restaurant, which is kind of how I can see myself in the past as doing it. But now it's like, no, okay, community spaces, cultural spaces, and how we learned it, how we became more accessible. So it's how I start developing this process of translating the way of teaching the instrument and learning the instrument. It's how we develop the profile strongly as an educator in this band too.
That's lovely. And it's just lovely. Everything about you ladies is lovely. I mean, the diversity in which you are exercising and demonstrating, right? And expanding on, because now I want to talk to you about the fact that you are a music therapist and that you work with musicians with Down syndrome, right? So that's, you want to talk about diversity and inclusivity? That's the epitome of diversity and inclusivity, you know?
Yes, and the thing Maffer was saying, most of the instruments we play, some of the instruments we play are were brought by oral tradition, and that's how we love to keep passing the word and the music, and that's why I chose to do music therapy, and that's why as an educator I chose the path of being in communities. It doesn't matter who they are. In this case, I was part of for many years of this group, this institution, where I taught percussion to musicians with Down syndrome. We had a whole group of percussion, and what we just see musicians, right? We don't see people with Down syndrome or people with a specific disability. All of us, we have our issues and characteristics. And that's just music, and that's how we want to use music, so people can see that they can do anything. It doesn't matter what or who you are.
Right, because music is the universal language. Dios mío, ladies, I wish we had more time. I really do, but we want to make sure we have time and we allot time for our audience to indulge in your performances. Really quickly, are there any last words?
Yes. Concert.
What happened?
I said, come to our concert.
Yes. I want to shout out to Sara Lucas and Daniela Serna, which are the other members of the band. They are also incredible musicians and educator. Daniela from Bogota, Colombia, Sara Lucas here from the United States, and our musician collaborator, which is Pat Sobota in the bass player. We are going to be performing pretty soon in Lincoln Center in a kid family show, so everyone is welcome to go there. Rhina, please come.
I will, with my daughter.
Bring your kids. Everybody get to sing, and get to know new instruments and different instruments from our country. So we would love to see you.
Thank you, ladies, and thank you for bringing it to our viewers. I mean, you guys are going to get a taste of them when we return. However, that was Mafer Bandola Gonzalez and Lara Klaus. They are 2/4 of the group LADAMA, and don't go anywhere, because when we return, they're going to perform for us after the break. Hey everyone, welcome back. Here now to perform Sin Ataduras is LADAMA.
Viva la rima que hay en tu mirada con la mía. Viva la selva que siento cuando tú te me acercas. Viva los días, viva la rima, viva la salsa. Viva la rima que hay en tu mirada con la mía. Con la mía, con la mía. Ando liberando los demonios que llevo dentro, pa' que caminemos junto a playas y desiertos. Esta canción es una oración, tú eres mi cielo. Vivan los viajes que hicimos juntos a otro tiempo. A otro tiempo, a otro tiempo.
Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras.
Viva el bullerengue, el tambor alegre y la rumba. Vivan los que sueñan con volar, crecer y siempre amar sin que importe el sexo, el color, el cuerpo o el lugar. Viva la selva que florece en mí cuando me besas, 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 besas. Ando liberando los demonios que llevo dentro, pa' que caminemos junto a playas y desiertos. Esta canción es una oración, tú eres mi cielo. Vivan los viajes que hicimos juntos otro tiempo. Otro tiempo, otro tiempo.
Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Let's go, vamos, ya, 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 ya. I can hear you. Ya, ya, ya.
Quiero un poco de calma entrando por mi ventana. Quiero un calipso pa' que me alivie en la madrugada. Quiero que mi adicción sea tu piel todas las mañanas y que mi juventud viaje en un barco entre galaxias.
Sin mucha
Quiero un poco de
pretensión,
calma
con
entrando
bastante
por mi
inspiración,
ventana.
sin
Quiero
tantas
un
amarguras
calipso pa' que me
y con
alivie en la
menos
madrugada.
ataduras. Sin mucha
Quiero que mi
pretensión,
adicción sea tu
con
piel todas
bastante
las
inspiración,
mañanas.
sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras. Sin mucha pretensión, con bastante inspiración, sin tantas amarguras y con menos ataduras.
Woo, yes. Woo. That was LADAMA, and they're going to be performing at Lincoln Center's David Rubenstein Atrium on Saturday, March 19th at 11 a.m. That's located at 61 West 62nd Street. And of course, you can stream their album, Oye Mujer, on all music platforms. And for more on LADAMA, you can visit their website at ladamaproject.org. And be sure to check them out on IG at LADAMA Project. Ooh, I was feeling them. I hope you were too. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin. And from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Happy Women's History Month, ladies.